Hey YouTube, this is Jack Connor. Just wanted to take a minute to talk about James Gunn and James Gunn getting fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, I'm a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, both 1 and 2. And in fact, in some ways, I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 better than Guardians of the Galaxy 1. It was more personal, it was bigger, etc. The characters and their relationships were already established, the team dynamic was there. So he is off of Guardians 3 because some old tweets have been unearthed. And they are terrible tweets. I'm not going to repeat them here, that is how bad they are. I can completely see why Disney, of all entities, fired James Gunn for those tweets. And I'm not going to defend those tweets, they are indefensible. I will say that James Gunn is a former Troma member, the outrageous, offensive, schlocky film company, and he went on to make a very offensive, deliberately offensive movie. That is where his headspace was back then. That is where he came from creatively, if you will. That's not a defense in any way. They're horrible tweets. But I understand that he was a different person back then. And while I will not defend that individual, the James Gunn that currently exists, that he has evolved into, is not necessarily that same person, if you will. And that is as close to a defense as I'm going to get on that, because there is no defending those tweets, and I absolutely understand why Disney felt it necessary to fire James Gunn, despite the fact that he has made them a lot of money and is a beloved figure in the fan community. So I would like to address why and how these tweets were unearthed. These tweets were found and discovered. Some people went to dig up some dirt on James Gunn because of some things that he said in a position that he took. And it's a very interesting case to study because there's some nuance here. And people are very quick to jump on this side or that side. But I think a more nuanced approach is more interesting to look at and is more accurate in this situation. Mark Duplass, I can't say his name, a writer and director that I like a lot. He made some really interesting little horror movies, Creep and Creep 2, as well as doing some other stuff. If you want a good little weird horror movie, Creep is a nice one. Only has 2 or 3 characters in it. Really well done. He's he's the villain, Mark Duplass. And he came out a couple of days ago saying that if liberals wanted to look at somebody on the other side and see another point of view, they could look to Ben Shapiro, who he said was a nice person that did good things for him for no reason, and it was coming from a good point of view, good place. He was an honest person that only wanted good things, something to that effect. That is what Mark Duplass tweeted, and he was instantly attacked by many people on the left. Just the horde came out and jumped on him for saying something halfway nice about somebody on the other side. So he was put under so much pressure that Mark Duplass, he needs to come up with a better name. Anyway, Mark Duplass deleted his tweet and apologized for it. He actually apologized for saying something halfway nice about somebody on the other side. He wasn't agreeing with Ben Shapiro or coming to Ben Shapiro's side. He was just saying that Ben Shapiro was a good guy coming from a good place. and he wasn't agreeing with him. So he got jumped on, mercilessly raked over the coals, and was forced to take back that tweet. James Gunn comes in with a few others and defends Mark Duplass. He says, I don't agree with Mark Duplass, but he has a right to say these things. Just saying that somebody on the other side might not necessarily be evil. James Gunn quickly said that he did not agree with Mark Duplass and that he hates Ben Shapiro, and even Ben Shapiro's, I don't think he used the word hate, but he said even Ben Shapiro's own mother should unfollow him, and blah, 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 blah. So, very, anti-Shapiro and anti-conservative, etc. That is James Gunn's position. But he did defend Mark Duplass, saying that Mark Duplass was not necessarily wrong for suggesting that somebody on the other side might not be a bad person. So James Gunn was taking a very nuanced position on that, saying Mark Duplass had a right to say what he said, which is that, Ben Shapiro is a nice guy, doesn't agree with him, thinks he's a nice guy. James Gunn said it's okay to say that. But then he went on to say, bad things about Shapiro and others. And because of that postscript, people on the right who may have had an inkling of these old tweets went and found them and said, well, if you're going to talk smack, we're going to give it back to you. And they revealed these old tweets, which were very damning and just horrible tweets that cannot be defended. And Disney stepped in and said, well, hell. So I guess we will have to fire James Gunn. And which is what they did. But I think it is instructive and important to consider exactly how this came about. It's because James Gunn took a nuanced position on the Mark Duplass thing. I wonder if he had come out firmly on one side or the other, if it would have been as bad for him. Probably would have. If he had come out on the right, he would have been completely hammered, and he never would have come out on the right, which is, how this all came about. It was people on the right that found this dirt on him and have, destroyed him with it. Well, I say destroyed. He is super rich. He's going to be just fine. He's going to find other projects. But are they going to be at the level of Guardians of the Galaxy? I don't know. He may have to go and make Slither too, which would be just fine with me. I love Slither. It's a great little horror movie. You should check it out along with Creep. But it is a very interesting case. I don't want to get into the politics of it all, but it does show you the weird world that we live in, where there is, I hate to say all-out war, because there hasn't been too much violence lately. There has been some violence, too much, mostly coming from the left, Antifa, the guy that shot up the senators, etc. And it seems to be getting more extreme. People are going further and further out to the polls, at least one poll, and they are getting more hysterical. And the right is taking it upon themselves to go after them and to fight fire with fire to a certain extent. Tweets killed Roseanne's show, so now they've killed Guardians of the Galaxy 3, or at least as done by James Gunn. So it is very much, they're going after, Roseanne doomed herself, although I do think there was some overreaction there. But she did doom herself with her tweet. and so did James Gunn, but that was safely buried years ago and was only dug up as ammunition in the culture war that we have found ourselves in. And that is interesting. That is an interesting place that we have come in our society, and I would argue that it is not a good place. We need to get to a better place where the sides are not in open conflict with each other, where you can actually say something nice about somebody on the other side and not be jumped on, and or say something bad about somebody on the other side and not have old tweets dug up and used as ammunition against you. So it's a damn shame that we are where we are in this society, in this country. It needs to get better. We need to be able to talk about this, and we need to be able to talk about this in a nuanced way. I am going at great pains not to come out on any particular side, but to only talk about the practical matter of where we find ourselves. And I would like to talk about where we can go from here. But we need to ramp down the rhetoric, ramp down the hysteria and the hate. Come on, guys. We can do better than this. It's okay to say something nice about somebody on the other side without causing, a firestorm that takes down careers. So, yeah. Let's do better on both sides. But in all fairness, it was James Gunn's own tweets that doomed him. This was not manufactured evidence, but they were safely buried tweets that were lost years ago, and they were only dug up because of this present culture war. But, if I had to come down on a side, I think that Mark Duplass should have been able to give his tweet without causing any fury at all. That should have been a mild, middle-of-the-road tweet that nobody even raised an eyebrow on. Just saying somebody on the other side is nice. Not saying they agree with him, just saying they're nice. That should be something that is allowed. We should be able to say so-and-so is nice without causing a firestorm that takes down careers. Okay, that's all I've got to say for the moment. Later, Jack Connor out. Oh, please like, subscribe, share this video. Please know in the comments section what you think. Be nice. But yes, I would love to hear your thoughts. This is a fascinating issue that we are facing. I want to know what you think. Talk to you later.